Remember when a song would come on the radio and everyone stopped what they were doing? When you'd rush to turn up the volume because you knew this was the song that summer? The 1970s gave us some of the catchiest, most unforgettable music ever recorded. But some artists only got one shot at glory, one perfect moment where everything came together, and then they were gone. These are the songs that defined parties, filled dance floors, and became the soundtrack to an entire generation. These are 10 one-hit wonders. Only 1970s kids remember. Number 10, Spirit in the Sky by Norman Greenbaum. When Norman Greenbaum walked into a studio in October 1969, he had an idea for a gospel song. Just one problem. Greenbaum was Jewish. He'd never written gospel music before, knew nothing about the genre, and had no particular religious motivation. But after watching country star Porter Wagoner perform a gospel number on television, Greenbaum thought he could do something similar. He sat down and wrote the entire song in about 15 minutes. Before his solo career, Greenbaum had been a member of Dr. West's Medicine Show and Junk Band, a psychedelic jug band. When they split up, he won a solo contract with producer Eric Jacobson, who'd previously worked with The Lovin' Spoonful. Greenbaum first tried arranging Spirit in the Sky for an acoustic jug band, then he attempted a folk version, then a Delta blues style. None of these felt right. Finally, he landed on the rock arrangement that would become iconic. The recording took place over 3 days at Coast Recorders in San Francisco. Greenbaum played a Fender Telecaster guitar with a fuzz-tone circuit built right into the body. That's what created the song's signature guitar sound. That fuzzy, distorted riff that hooks you from the first note. The record company was initially reluctant to release it because of the song's length and religious lyrics. But after 2 other singles from the album flopped, they finally gave it a shot. Released in late 1969, Spirit in the Sky hit number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 in April 1970, where it stayed for 3 weeks. It lasted 15 weeks in the top 100, and Billboard ranked it the number 22 song of the entire year. The song went to number 1 in the UK for 2 weeks, and also topped charts in Australia and Canada. It sold over 2 million copies worldwide. Even John Lennon said he liked it during a famous 1970 Rolling Stone interview, which was high praise considering Lennon wasn't generous with compliments during that period. But Greenbaum could never recreate that magic. His follow-up singles went nowhere. He had 2 other songs crack the Hot 100. Canned Ham reached number 46 in 1970, and California Earthquake made it to number 93 in 1971, but neither came close to his debut hit. Eventually, he got dropped from Reprise Records. Attempts to find a new label failed because he was unwilling to return to the distinctive sound of Spirit in the Sky. Frustrated and broke, he gave up music entirely and went to work as a cook in Northern California. He worked his way up from flipping hamburgers to being a sous chef to managing kitchens and writing menus. The song, though, never stopped playing. It showed up in over 30 major movies, including Apollo 13, Ocean's 11, Remember the Titans, and Guardians of the Galaxy. It became a staple in TV commercials. Funeral directors reported it was the second most requested song at memorial services right after Danny Boy. Every time it appeared in something high-profile, Greenbaum would receive at least $10,000. Not enough to make him rich, but enough that by the 2000s, he didn't have to work anymore. He could live comfortably in Santa Rosa, California on the royalties from one perfect song. Number 9. Afternoon Delight by Starland Vocal Band.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon Delight.
The summer of 1976 was scorching hot, and one song seemed to be playing everywhere. Afternoon Delight by Starland Vocal Band hit number 1 on July 10th, 1976, and stayed there for 2 weeks. The title came from an unexpected place, and the story behind it is both sweet and a little sad.
Thinking of you's working up my appetite, looking forward to a little.
Bill Danoff was eating at Clyde's restaurant in Georgetown, Washington, D.C., with fellow band member Margot Chapman. His then-wife Taffy Danoff was undergoing surgery for cervical cancer. While looking at the happy hour menu, Bill noticed the phrase, "Afternoon Delight," and thought it was catchy. He started writing a song around it, though the actual songwriting process took 6 months. He'd often work on it during Sundays while watching Washington's football team play on TV.
Afternoon delight.
Danoff played down the suggestive nature of the song. He didn't want to write an all-out song about intimacy, he just wanted something fun that hinted at romance. But listeners knew exactly what the song was really about, and that made it even more popular. The harmonies were perfect. The band consisted of 2 married couples, Bill and Taffy Danoff, and John Carroll and Margot Chapman. Their voices blended together seamlessly, creating those lush, layered harmonies that made the song impossible to get out of your head. The group had deep roots in the Washington, D.C. folk scene. They'd started as Fat City, a duo of Bill and Taffy, back in the late 1960s. Together, they'd co-written Take Me Home, Country Roads with John Denver, which became a massive hit in 1971. After recording a few albums as Bill and Taffy, they recruited 18-year-old keyboardist John Carroll for a 1974 album. They were so impressed with Carroll that they decided to form a new group, adding vocalist Margot Chapman to create Starland Vocal Band.
Afternoon delight.
At the 1977 Grammy Awards, Afternoon Delight received 5 nominations total. It won for Best Arrangement for Voices. The band also won Best New Artist, beating out a little group called Boston, which in retrospect seems absurd. Boston's debut album was one of the biggest-selling records of all time, but in 1976, Starland Vocal Band seemed like the safer bet.
Forward to a little afternoon delight, rubbing sticks and stones together.
The success led to the Starland Vocal Band show on CBS in the summer of 1977. The variety show ran for 6 weeks and featured a then-unknown David Letterman as a writer and regular performer. It also starred Mark Russell and Jeff Altman. But the show didn't catch on, and neither did the band's subsequent music.
Afternoon delight.
Their second album, Rearview Mirror, came out in 1977 and went nowhere. Late Night Radio in 1978 fared no better. Their fourth and final album, 4x4, appeared in 1980 to complete indifference. By 1981, the band had broken up. Both marriages dissolved as well. Bill and Taffy Danoff divorced in 1982, ending a partnership that had created some memorable music. Carroll and Chapman, who'd married in 1978 at the peak of the group's success, divorced in 1981.
Rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
The band did reunite occasionally. In 1998, they performed at a John Denver Memorial Concert. In 2007, they appeared on New Jersey Network singing Afternoon Delight, but nothing ever came close to matching that summer of 1976, when their song was everywhere, when those harmonies and that suggestive chorus dominated radio and became the soundtrack to an entire season.
Thinking of you's working up my appetite. Looking forward to a little.
Number 8. Play That Funky Music by Wild Cherry. Wild Cherry was a hard rock band from Steubenville, Ohio, trying to make it in the mid-1970s. They had one major problem. Disco was taking over and nobody wanted to hire rock bands anymore. Dance music was king, and Wild Cherry was struggling to book shows. Lead singer Rob Parisi wanted to adapt, to add some funk and disco to their set list, but his bandmates resisted. They didn't want to be seen as a disco band. Rock was their identity, and they weren't ready to give that up. The band had actually been around since 1970, releasing a couple of albums and singles that went nowhere. Parisi dissolved that version of the group and in 1975 started over with a new lineup. Brian Bassett on guitar, Alan Wentz on bass, Ronald Beidel on drums, and later Mark Avsek on keyboards. This new version of Wild Cherry played regular gigs around Pittsburgh, but the tension between what they wanted to play and what audiences wanted to hear was growing. One night while playing at the 2001 club in Pittsburgh to a predominantly black audience, someone shouted during a break at drummer Ronald Beidel. The exact words were something like, "Are you going to play some funky music, white boys?" Parisi grabbed a pen and an order pad from the bartender and wrote the song in about 5 minutes. The lyrics captured everything they were going through, a rock band trying to adjust to the disco era, being told to adapt or die.
Yeah, they were dancing and singing and moving to the groove.
The band recorded Play That Funky Music at a Cleveland studio. They originally intended it to be the B-side to a cover of the Commodore's I Feel Sanctified, but studio engineer Ken Hammond heard something special and brought the recording to Sweet City Records, which was distributed by Epic/CBS. The label signed Wild Cherry and insisted on making Play That Funky Music the A-side. Released in April 1976, the song became massive. It hit #1 on both the Billboard Hot 100 and the R&B chart on September 18, 1976. The song stayed at #1 for 3 weeks and spent 25 weeks on the chart total. It reached #7 in the UK and charted in the top 10 in multiple countries. Both the single and their self-titled album went platinum. The album hit #5 on the Billboard 200.
Somebody turn around and shout it, play that funky music.
Billboard named them Best Pop Group of the Year. They won an American Music Award for Top R&B Single. They were nominated for 2 Grammy Awards, Best New Artist and Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group. They performed the song at the Grammy ceremony. For a brief moment, Wild Cherry was on top of the world.
When they were dancing and singing and moving to the groove.
Their follow-up single, Hot to Trot, got some regional airplay but didn't crack the top 40 nationally. Their second album, Electrified Funk in 1977, failed to produce another major hit. Their third album, I Love My Music in 1978, did slightly better but still couldn't match their debut. By 1979, they'd released their fourth album, Only the Wild Survive, which didn't even produce a top 100 single. The band disbanded shortly after.
Play that funky music, white boy.
#7, In the Summertime by Mungo Jerry.
In the summertime when the weather is hot, you can stretch right up and
British band Mungo Jerry had consistent success in the United Kingdom, but in America they're remembered for exactly one song. In the Summertime hit #3 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1970, and it perfectly captured the carefree spirit of that summer. Lead singer Ray Dorset wrote this jug band-style romp that featured kazoos, hand claps, and a sound unlike anything else on the radio.
when the wind is here, yeah, it's party time. Bring a bottle, wagon, rackles, yeah.
The song had this infectious, laid-back energy that made you want to roll down the windows and just drive. It was creative, fun, and completely different from the heavy rock dominating the charts. The recording featured unusual instrumentation for a pop hit, giving it a folk festival vibe that resonated worldwide. It went to #1 in 26 countries and sold 30 million copies globally.
When the sun goes down, you can make it good and live by.
In America, though, Mungo Jerry couldn't get another hit. The sound that made them unique also made them hard to categorize. Radio stations weren't sure where they fit. The band continued releasing music and touring throughout the 1970s, but American audiences had moved on after that one perfect summer.
In the summertime when the weather is hot, you can stretch right up and
#6, Love Grows, Where My Rosemary Goes by Edison Lighthouse. Edison Lighthouse wasn't really a band in the traditional sense. They were the creation of songwriters Barry Mason and Tony McCauley, who brought in session singer Tony Burrows to record Love Grows. Members of the band Greenfield Hammer were enlisted to be the live version of Edison Lighthouse for performances and TV appearances.
She talks kinda lazy and people say she's crazy.
The song itself is pure bubblegum pop. Impossibly catchy with a melody that burrows into your brain and never leaves. Released in early 1970, it hit #5 on the US Billboard Hot 100. The cheerful tune about a girl named Rosemary became an instant radio favorite. It had that late 1960s sound, bright and optimistic, even as it was released right as the 1970s began.
No knows a lie.
After Love Grows became a hit, Tony Burrows left to pursue other projects. A few more singles were released under the Edison Lighthouse name, but none matched the success of their debut. The group was eventually retired, and the musicians went back to being Greenfield Hammer. Interestingly, Tony Burrows holds a unique record. He's the singer with the most one-hit wonders, having hits with 5 different groups, 4 of them in 1970 alone.
Something about a hand on the mind. It's a feeling that's fine.
Number 5. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, by Looking Glass.
Sailors say, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a
Looking Glass released Brandy in 1972, and it became an instant classic. The song tells the story of a barmaid named Brandy who works in a harbor town. She's in love with a sailor, but he loves the sea more than he could ever love her. Lead singer Elliot Lurie's voice perfectly captured the melancholy of the narrative.
good wife you would be. Such a fine.
The song climbed to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in August 1972 and stayed there for a week. It became one of the most played songs on adult contemporary radio and has remained a favorite on classic rock stations ever since. The guitar work is distinctive, and that keyboard riff is instantly recognizable.
Eyes could steal a sailor from the sea.
Looking Glass tried to follow up with more singles, but nothing connected with audiences the way Brandy did. By 1974, the band had split up. Elliot Lurie went on to become a successful songwriter and producer, but as a performer, he'd be forever known as the voice of Brandy.
Sailors say, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a
Number 4, Seasons in the Sun by Terry Jacks.
Goodbye to you, my trusted friend.
Terry Jacks took a French song called Le Moribond and turned it into one of the most emotional hits of 1974. Seasons in the Sun is about a dying man saying goodbye to his loved ones. It's heavy subject matter for a pop song, but Jacks delivered it with such sincerity that listeners couldn't resist.
We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun.
The song hit number 1 in the US and stayed there for 3 weeks in March 1974. It was massive worldwide, topping charts in multiple countries and selling over 14 million copies. The orchestration is lush, and Jacks's vocal delivery makes you feel every word. It's a song that can bring tears even decades later.
Bye, Papa, please pray for me.
Despite this massive success, Jacks never had another major American hit. He'd been a member of the Poppy family earlier in his career, and they'd had some Canadian success, but Seasons in the Sun was his only true American breakthrough as a solo artist. He continued making music but eventually stepped back from the industry to focus on environmental activism.
We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun.
Number 3, Kung Fu Fighting by Carl Douglas. The year was 1974, and kung fu movies were everywhere. Carl Douglas was a singer from Jamaica who'd been trying to make it in the music business for years. During a recording session, they had extra studio time after finishing the planned songs. Douglas and producer Bidu decided to quickly record a novelty song about kung fu. They threw it together in about 10 minutes. Kung Fu Fighting became one of the biggest hits of the decade. It hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in December of 1974 and stayed there for 2 weeks. The song sold over 11 million copies worldwide. Everyone was doing the Kung Fu Fighting choreography in discos and at parties. The track helped increase the popularity of martial arts films even further. Douglas tried to build on this success, but nothing else caught on in America. He had modest success in the UK with a few other singles. But in the US, he was forever the Kung Fu Fighting guy. The song has endured, though, appearing in countless movies, TV shows, and commercials over the decades. Number 2, Mockingbird by Carly Simon and James Taylor. When 2 massive stars collaborate, you'd expect multiple hits. But when real-life couple Carly Simon and James Taylor recorded their playful duet Mockingbird in 1974, it became their only charted song together. The song is a cover of the 1963 Inez and Charlie Fox hit, transformed into something completely their own. Their chemistry is obvious in every note. They trade verses back and forth, teasing each other, harmonizing perfectly on the chorus. It's intimate and fun, like listening in on a private moment between two people deeply in love. The song reached number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 in March 1974. Both Simon and Taylor had incredible solo careers with numerous hits. But as a duo, Mockingbird was it. They divorced in 1983, making it unlikely they'd ever record together again. The song remains a beautiful snapshot of a moment in time when two of the 1970s biggest singer-songwriters shared something special. Number 1. Vehicle by the Ides of March. The Ides of March had been around since the 1960s, releasing several albums and singles without much success. Then, in 1970, they released Vehicle and everything changed. The song features a powerful horn section and lead singer Jim Peterick's raspy, commanding vocals demanding attention. It's pure, brass-driven rock, with an energy that's impossible to ignore. Vehicle hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 in May 1970. The horns, the driving rhythm, the sheer power of the performance made it stand out from everything else on the radio. It sold over 1 million copies and remains a staple of classic rock radio. The band kept releasing music throughout the 1970s, and they had a few minor chart appearances, but nothing came close to Vehicle. Eventually, Jim Peterick went on to co-found the band Survivor in the 1980s and co-wrote Eye of the Tiger, so his story had a second chapter of success. But for the Ides of March, Vehicle was their moment, and what a moment it was. These artists all share something special. They created songs so perfect, so timeless, that nothing else they did could match them. Some kept trying to recapture the magic. Others walked away from music entirely. A few found success in other areas of the industry. But these 10 songs remain, still playing on radios, still filling dance floors, still bringing back memories of the 1970s. The beauty of a one-hit wonder is that it never gets old. These songs weren't overplayed until everyone got tired of them. They shine bright, burn hot, and live forever in that perfect moment. When Spirit in the Sky comes on, you're instantly transported back. When you hear those opening notes of Afternoon Delight or play that funky music, you can't help but smile. These weren't flukes. They were artists who caught lightning in a bottle, who created something that connected with millions of people all at once. The fact that it only happened once doesn't diminish it. These are pure moments of magic, frozen in time, waiting for anyone who wants to remember when music could change your whole summer with just 3 minutes and a perfect chorus. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on more fascinating stories.